Welcome to the stage, Christina.
Thank you so much. How's everyone doing? Fantastic. Awesome. Some amazing learning sharing today. So I appreciate the warm welcome and introduction, Vanessa. I am Christina from Shipley Donuts. As she said, we're an 88-year-old company based out of Houston, Texas. Woohoo, yeah. Go Itchat. Or Texas, whichever you need. It was owned by the third generation of the family, and then, as she said, in December of 2020, it was purchased by Peak Rock Capital, and we've had tremendous results, and we say it got interesting as we go to double our unit count within 5 years. So I was listening, Felicia, as you were talking about 200 units a year. So we're talking about disrupting your training process. I look at everything that we're talking about today and everything on the news. The world continues to change faster than we can ever keep up, especially with tech and AI. But I question, has our training model, has the structure of our training changed to our user and the world overall? What do you think? No. No, not at all. The learning theory, of course, I think stays the same. That's not going to change. We still need experiential learning, doing the task. We learn through doing, not necessarily learning through learning. And we do that through social learning of observing others that we respect. But otherwise, we've continued to onboard our team members without really breaking that down and meeting them where they're at. I've talked to numerous people today about attention spans becoming shorter and shorter. But our training, again, remains the same. Well, quite frankly, too long at this point in time. How many of you have 15 or 20-minute courses in your LMS outside of HR training? Okay. Any 10 minutes? Any that just don't know? That's okay, too. We're going to talk about disrupting your training and really keeping up with our users. They're consuming our training on a daily basis. I said we're a third-generation family. We definitely have fourth generation. We have some franchisees that have been with us over 50 years. And of course, we also have Gen Z. So some of my colleagues laugh. We have the folks that still like paper agendas and they're timekeepers. I forget what those are called. I didn't have one myself. And then we have Gen Z who wants everything digitally. So we talk about disrupting all the time. Disrupting our training is a way to move from onboarding, that one big shot or very long training programs, into continually learning, which is what our users want. We see from employee surveys all the time that people want to feel heard. They want to feel seen. They want to make a difference in the world and in our organizations. We also want to do this by simplifying our objectives and whatever the module might be, and do so in a way that everybody in our organization can consume it. So what really is everboarding? Everboarding is the philosophy that instead of that one big training that you get, or that positional training, and then you're out on your own to figure it out, sink or swim, but like the restaurant industry is known for, that we're going to continue growing and developing. We're going to break it down instead of moving from one position of learning to just the role, that we broaden that out, and you're always learning. It never stops within our organization, which allows the business to adapt, promotes the user's ability to adapt as well. So we see our employees being able to pivot faster and quicker, which is what we need in this industry in this day and age. And of course, we always want to promote retention. By everboarding, you're getting a chance to increase, my page is stuck, of course it would. You're getting a chance to promote learning faster and easier. The modules are smaller, quicker, easier to consume. So your operators, for those of you that are connecting with your ops team and driving the business result, you'll see that your learner is getting into position quicker with less training costs and less labor, and the ramp-up speed to truly performing the task is faster. By this, they're more satisfied because they're part of the team. They're adding values. They're making connections authentically with their fellow team. And of course, we see this in our customer service results as well, because they're doing better faster, they're working as a team better, and the guest at the end of the day gets a better result. I still might be challenged to keep up with Chick-fil-A. With this, as they're looking and they're happier, we're also building a pipeline throughout our organization and seeing bigger bench. We talk about doubling in 5 years. That bench and pipeline is one of our biggest factors. We want to make sure we're able to grow. And of course, reduce turnover. So designing to disrupt your training and move to everboarding. There's 2 real pieces to this. Designing it and following through is breaking your information down into micro segments. For those of you that I asked how long your trainings were, some of these courses that are 10, even more than 5 minutes, certainly 10 and longer, and we're not talking the HR compliance. For those of you in California, I know, you've got to hit your timelines and you've got to do it biannually or annually. But if you're able to break those trainings down into smaller modules and then again into smaller segments so it's easier to consume. That allows you, as we've talked about accessibility and blended learning, to get out into experiential learning. I was watching a webinar the other day, and a gentleman said even his own son that he designs the training material for says, skip the online learning and get to putting your hands on it. Got to do it to learn it. So this method allows you to quickly gain the facts and then go learn through doing the process. We also incorporate knowledge checks. We want that feedback, again, authentic relationships so they feel as though they're part of the team and they can build that relationship and somebody provides feedback on how they can continue learning. And it doesn't mean there's only one check-in in the learning process. There could be multiple check-ins so they continue to learn. We also get content from our employees. How many of you have SMEs build your content? Yeah? What modules, if you don't mind me asking? Everything? How many has culinary, develop your culinary training materials? See a couple hands. How many of you let your trainers and your trainees give you feedback to build the content? Yeah, see a few hands. I challenge that always using the trainer and the trainee is a huge piece to SMEs. The fact is well, we've all been in the industry for quite some time. We forget how many years of experience it took to get to the point that we're at. And our SMEs are the same, whether that's accounting or culinary. And so using and allowing your own employees to help build that material will get you better feedback and a different lens in the overall experience. There's 2 main ways you're going to do this. You're going to think, I have all this content. How do I break it up right away if I wanted to do this? One is to break those modules down. I used HR. Does anybody know off the top of their head, I see some HR folks, how many people in the industry report being harassed or witnessing harassment as of recently? Roundabout, we don't have to be specific. 75? 70% is a close guess. 70% of women report being harassed. 90% showed they've seen it, witnessed it, heard it on a regular basis. I only say this not to scare anybody. Sorry to my HR friends in the room. But I say this because I think we have an opportunity when we look at our annual training to break it down into smaller pieces and make them refreshers. Yes, we have to do the annual HR training or the biannual, but can we break down smaller pieces to keep it fresh and in the forefront of our team members' minds to promote the culture that we're looking for? The other way is to break down overall levels. How many of you bring in a trainee to an employee, whether that be an MIT to a manager, a trainee to a cashier, trainee to server, so on and so forth? Most people go from new hire, right? Trainee just in. Promotion, you cross-train, I don't know, you've been a cashier, you learn to be a cook, and then you're a cook. Another way to do this is to break it down into levels. And we see this at Shipley Donuts and have become extremely successful with this. We've reduced our training time significantly, and we see more productivity, especially in our new store openings, by having a new hire and moving up. So this looks like a trainee to cashier level 1. Those folks can now ice our donuts and make our items. versus cashier level 2 can also package our items. We're working on order accuracy and boxing to complete that order. What this does is allow them to get their hands-on experience and be part of the team and add value. Again, I want to feel seen, I want to feel heard, and I want to make an impact. So if I'm only in training, what happens in the peak? For those of us that have been in operations, the trainee gets pushed off to the side, out of the way, and they're not learning. So by giving them something that is highly focused, that they can add value to their team on very quickly, they're able to continue to contribute, and it helps promote that authentic relationship of being part of the team. These levels you can bundle by defining your core skills and breaking them up. With that, you're also able to communicate those clear goals of how do I grow into the next position, or what skills can I maybe learn to just add value, that I might want to be a manager. It's not today, but it's later, and I'd like those soft skills or that conflict resolution Felicia talked about earlier, so that I can handle my own leadership abilities later on down the road, whether I'm in your restaurant or not. Reducing turnover again, because quite frankly, we all have to add value somewhere. So those skills can be used whether you're in engineering, leading a team 5 years down the road, or you're a manager in our shops tomorrow. This also allows us to publicly celebrate our team. Again, back to the employees that continue to say, I want to feel seen, and I want to feel heard, and I want to be valued. So we can celebrate them publicly with a simple thank you, great job. We also have the ability to incentivize all of these roles. So cashier level 1, cashier level 2, so on and so forth. We're able to give pay raises from day 1. So I'd like to I'll throw out a random number here. I'm not giving any specifics because I'm not able on pay, but maybe it's $12, and by the end of training on level 5, it's $12.25 within a week. So we're immediately showing that skill set drives value. Again, not saying you have to do pay increase. As much as a high five or a cup goes a long way. We also see that with this methodology, our employees are now asking for the training. They're pulling for it. If we walk into our shops, they're saying, can you certify me? I know you're probably thinking you want them to build training material, and now they're asking to be certified. Yes, we have gotten a little busier, but it's really fun to see your employees asking for training rather than forcing training more and more. And I beg and plead with you, if those of you who are in Rachel's conversation session earlier, accessibility is key. So finding the right tech to do this is really important. Gone are the days of LMS. I was chatting with Vanessa earlier. I remember the day when we all moved to LMS and we tried to pack everything into it, and then we said, oh no, that wasn't the right methodology either. We need blended learning, but we need experiential learning even more than we need LMS. So finding the right tech to support that in your check-ins and supporting the language, as Rachel said, there's so many folks, and if you're not getting everybody, then quite frankly, not everyone has a seat at the table. As we talk about inclusion and how we feel seen and heard, having a seat at the table and feeling as though we belong is really important. Thank you very much.